What's up, guys? I hope everybody's having a great week, and I'm super excited about this episode for a very special reason. It's because it is filled with so many real-life lessons for a first-time business owner. What makes this episode very unique is that we really go in detail about all the common horrible mistakes entrepreneurs or as small business owners we can make starting out. A lot of small business owners are unaware of certain rules and regulations that could really become huge problems in our business. And our guests, our special guests that we're going to interview, who are actually the founders of LashCon, have gone through all of it pretty much. It was kind of sad but funny but amazing that they went through literally the whole spectrum of everything that can kind of be a roadblock, but they still kept going. I love their story. I love how real they are, and I love how honest they are about the industry they're in and about all the advice that they share based on their true horrible lessons. So stay tuned. But before we actually jump into that, I have something to add that was actually triggered by this episode too, of the fact that, hey, it is okay to slow down sometimes or pivot and, make different decisions than you thought that you thought initially you were going to take with your business. So let me give you an example in my current life that it just became like a aha moment to me. Most of you know who've been following that I started my salon services back it's almost 2 months now, honestly. And thank God it's been building, and I'm treating it as like a whole new business because we hadn't done services for about 2 years and we had 0 clients. Everybody found a new home after we closed doors, right? So we had to build a team. We had to hire from a front desk to lash managers, to salon managers, to lash artists, all of that good stuff. So initially I was like, okay, small business owner mind, I'm going to do everything I can myself, of course, to save money, because we always want to save money as small business owners when we don't have a lot to start off with, especially starting a brand new business, right? But one thing I reminded myself was that, wait a minute, am I making the right decision for the long run, or am I being short-sighted and just making this decision to do so much myself right now? Am I just looking at the very small picture of, okay, this month I'm going to have to cover all these expenses, so I personally have to do all this extra stuff myself to make sure I don't, spend more money than I can afford. Now, I had to really think about this long and hard, but since this is a business and a personal development podcast, I want to share this because some of us need this reminder, or need this even to kind of trigger ideas of some things that we do as small business owners. When I had my kids, actually, let me backtrack a little. I had promised myself that I was going to work less overall, because before that I was like a crazy workaholic. So I can spend more time with them. Okay. The balance between my life and my work, I always want to keep. So I had kind of made that commitment not to actually work more than 3 days a week. And then next thing I know, I caught myself working like 6 days a week when we reopened the salon. And besides that, I was working a lot later hours, so I couldn't pick up the kids, or when I was picking them up, I was kind of like messing up dinner time, sleep time, and those of you that are parents know how crazy that gets. We don't want that. But long story short, I was literally one day driving after like 5, I think I got off that day, and I had just committed in our team meeting to work until 8 some of the days without even really like realizing how this was going to affect like the bigger picture. So I was driving to pick up my son from his daycare, and literally I was so anxious, so nervous, so like mad, and I didn't even realize why I was like that. But first thing is, I knew, like, I was so curious, how did he do in school? Because I just potty trained him. Like, how many accidents did he have? And just that feeling of feeling that anxious, like something was off, was my sign to myself, hey, hold on. Like, we've been through this in the past. Let's do this different. Like, this is my second time literally starting a salon from scratch. Let me do this a little different now that I have so much experience and I know how to run a business. Like, what advice would I give to my clients if I'm coaching them? So I literally, as I was driving, it just finally hit me, and I was like, okay, I have to hire a lash manager. Like, it's that simple. But before that, it didn't seem that simple. But sometimes, and I know we've talked about this in the past, like delegating and trusting an employee or somebody else to take some of your load is the best business decision you can make, because that's the only way we're going to be able to grow. And by doing that initially, I'm definitely not going to be as profitable, or I'm going to be losing more money as a new startup. But in the long run, in the bigger picture, and that's, what entrepreneurs need to look at, it's definitely going to help, because then I will have more free time to really grow and manage, the corporation and really be the owner and the CEO and really oversee things, compared to trying to balance so many things between like classes, product sales, being a mom, and even being a good boss for my employees. If I'm so busy all the time, if I'm even trying to cover to take some lash clients before I hire someone, or if I'm just bringing in the doing the front desk again to cover employees to do lower costs and all that stuff. So anyways, that was a lesson learned. Sometimes we need to look at the big picture and really consider, is this is a business and this is an investment. If I'm hiring people, it's actually investing in my business to really work on the business, instead of really just being so tired and not being able to see the full picture to really grow your business. So I hope that makes sense. But we kind of go in depth with our guests also in the episode, so they can give their point of view on that and the mistakes they made. Well, enough about me. We have a full on life story of Paula and Tussanee coming up. So let's hear it. Hey beauty lovers and fellow entrepreneurs, I'm Yegi, the owner and founder of Yegi Beauty. Within 5 years of being my own boss, I was able to grow Yegi Beauty into a multi-million-dollar company. This podcast is where I share what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur in the beauty industry. Hello. Welcome back to the Yegi Project. I am so excited and honored to have amazing guests who've been through it all in the lash industry. So from salon to coaching to LashCon, we have Tess and Paul.
Hey guys, excited to be here.
Happy to be here.
Thank you so much for being here. Again, taking the time to actually physically drive and come here means a lot to me. And I know our listeners are going to get a ton of good advice and information and education and inspiration from you guys. So thank you again.
Yeah, no, we love it. You're like 15 minutes from us, so it's actually really cool.
Perfect, right? This is LA's the area to be.
Yeah, nothing in LA, by the way, is 15 minutes usually. It's like, I have to go, I'll be an hour. And for you, it's like, oh wow, she's like right next door almost. It's very cool.
We do like 11 or like 3.
Yeah,
the magic hour before the
before hell breaks loose. Yeah.
Yes. So before we get started, can you guys tell our listeners a little bit about you? Those of you that don't have already know of you.
That's probably almost everyone. No, it's always kind of fun because we get to come here and we get to meet a whole new tribe of people, because our industry is huge. Like there's always amazing. We go to trade shows and conferences and we meet people like, who are you? Like no one knows us still, it feels like. So it's kind of cool. So well, you want to tell a bit about it?
I'm a lash artist, first and foremost.
Yeah.
I've been doing lashes since 2006. That's when I opened my business.
Wow.
How many years is that?
It's been 14, 15. Yeah. Well, I losing track because it used to be 16 years now.
16 years?
I mean, you first found out about in 2005 is when you really learned about lashes.
That's those are the dark ages.
Well,
right?
2006.
It was so different.
Yeah, 2006 was the dark ages too. But
what's so funny is that you look at pictures of when you first started.
Yeah.
And you think, you're like, oh my gosh, these lashes are fantastic. And then you look now and you're just like, oh my gosh, it was terrible, right?
Because back then it was like if you put 40 lashes on, it was amazing.
Like I remember, I put like 10 lashes on. I'm like, this is a full set. You know,
I'm the best.
Yes,
I'm so great. You know, they're all
horrible.
stuck together. Just like nasty.
Hey, no one knew.
No one knew.
The best we can do, because we were also limited in like tools and supplies.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, there was nothing back in those days.
Yeah. And so we had a salon for 14 years.
Yeah, we first hired was 2009. In the middle of the Great Recession, we hired.
How did you get into this business with her?
Oh, in 2011, we had an employee basically take a bunch of money who was helping manage the place, and that.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I didn't know how to like hire. I didn't know how to vet. I thought that if I got along with them as a client, oh my gosh, they'd be perfect. So this person I didn't really know at all, but I got along with her because she was a client, and so I signed over all my banking
it's
information.
Scary.
Just
Everything.
Like, it just didn't even dawn on me that somebody would be dishonest.
Yeah, that's the sad thing. If you're a good, honest person, you always see the best in people, and sometimes we don't put those checks and balances in place. And
completely,
yeah.
And that's what happened. And so we realized, there's a lot of money missing, and I can't trust. I just don't know. So
and like a lot of small businesses I know, and I talked to a lot of our business owners, and they go, "Oh yeah, as soon as they'll something like that happens, they go, okay, time to bring the family in. We got to get people who are blood, who you have to live with the rest of your life, so they better not steal. I mean, they still can steal, but they're less likely.
Joint account.
Yeah. So we also realized we had no systems, no tracking. So she came to me, and I was in this incredible, successful career in Hollywood, making millions of dollars.
Sarcasm.
Yeah. And
so what were you doing?
Yeah, I was basically self-employed for about 6-7 years doing video, mostly corporate video, videos for ministries, for NGOs, for nonprofits, and that was
changed your world.
Yeah. She came along and says, "You know what? You really should be, work with me because I'm on the winning team. You're on the losing team." Yes. No, she didn't say it like that, but I realized there was more money in what she was doing.
Yeah,
that's what I did to my husband too.
Yeah.
Actually, I stole him from his firm.
Exactly.
Yeah,
she did. She stole me, and I said, "You know what?" And then also us, we had actually had some marriage issues before this.
We had
major issues. Yeah. I mean, it was not going to work out, but this is actually one of the things that actually brought us together. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because for her, she had sacrificed for me in my early years because I want to be a writer, which just says a lot about how long suffering you are. I wanted to be a writer and that's why we moved to LA to be a screenwriter, all this stuff.
And we were struggling.
We're struggling really bad.
It became a pattern for like 15 years. And I was just like,
done.
I am done with this struggle. I'm going to go out. I'm going to do this all myself. I'm going to make a living for my family. I'm going to provide for my kids. And I realized, I had the ambition, I had the determination, but in terms of execution,
of course,
I ran into
sometimes
some
it's
problems.
harder than we think.
And so I said, please help me. Please help me.
Yeah.
And
so in 2011, I quit what I was doing. I basically walked away from the film industry, and I went and joined her. And we I took over all the business side because she hated that stuff.
Yeah. When you're an artsy person, the business side is just not fun, and it doesn't come naturally.
Yeah.
It's very rare where you can love both.
Yeah. And funny thing, I didn't even know anything about business either. I was I'll do business. I was an artist myself at the time. I'm like, I want to be a writer. I want to be a filmmaker. I want to do all these things. So when I came and joined her, I had to learn about business. And that's where, there was a lot of learning. I always like to say we probably screwed up everything more than any other person with business.
But that's the best way to learn.
Yeah,
honestly,
it's painful.
I had a business background, so not a background, education. I never worked. I never had experience running a business. When I opened my salon, I was like, "Oh, this is easy."
Yeah.
But I did at least have my master's degree in business. So I was I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So different.
I
had no idea what I was doing. Still, I thought I could open the salon. I'm gonna hire people. It's gonna run itself. I'm just gonna sit back, collect the money. No.
It's kind of like
hard.
learning to swim from reading a book.
Exactly.
Like, I think I got it. But when you actually get into the water and you're like, oh my goodness, this is
I'm drowning.
Yeah.
I personally enjoyed the mistakes and kind of the up and down. I saw it as a project to kind of grow as a person and as an entrepreneur. I don't know how you guys felt about it, but I would secretly cry and then get excited that I'm figuring something
It's both.
new.
It is both because there are moments where you just want to die because you just feel so hopeless. Like, I don't know what to do. But once you begin to figure it out, there is also great joy. Like, oh, I cracked the code. I solved it. I figured out how to make this work. And so,
and it kind of builds your confidence a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I went through this small hurdle. Now I can do
Absolutely.
maybe the next thing that's a challenge.
And I guess it's like anything when you first start, you have to be okay being a beginner and be okay not knowing, be okay sucking and just be okay with that and just accept it and embrace it, knowing that the experience will come. Like for me, interviewing, like a thing I didn't know anything about. I remember my first day on the job. I walk into the office with Tess, and Tess goes, "Oh, by the way, you're interviewing someone today." And I'm like, "What? I never interviewed anyone in my life." I'm like, I have no idea what questions to ask. And so I sat down with her. I'm just like, "Hey,
No. And it was you talking.
I know. I think I talked the whole time.
And then he'd be like, yeah, I think this person is good. And then I'd meet with him and I'd be like, what? What are you thinking?
I said, well, the first person we did hire her, actually. But that said.
I know. But you became better. The bottom line is that you became better because you realized the things to look for, and also to slow it down, to not be talking, like to convince them to work.
I always wanted to convince everyone to join our team. I was like the coach, the cheerleader, like, hey, we're amazing. Look at all these cool things there in our company. Honestly, and the employees like, of that too. Yeah, well, because we're so excited about our business, right? We love our business. We think we've created the best thing in the world. So,
and you're so excited.
Yeah, you want to tell them about it.
And like I said, if you're honestly truly a good person and you see the good in people, a lot of people naturally want to see the best. So that I've made that mistake too. I've gone, give me whoever you want. Like it's okay. Like I won't see any of your fault. I'm just gonna coach you, train you. You're gonna be the best.
Yeah, everyone will be the best. So that was the thing. My first day in the job, I didn't know how to interview. I did a horrible job, and it took me many years. Where now I feel like, oh gosh, if you did an impromptu interview, I nail it. I would be able to know
exactly who you're looking for. That'll be a good fit for your position or what it is.
I mean, I think a good example, LashCon, we hired 9 people. It was temporary, but I mean, really 9 people, they were all stars. It was amazing. I've never hired 9 people like in a 4-week period and went, oh, they're all good. They're all the right people.
But I have to tell you, those skills were hard won. I mean, we paid dearly for the mistakes.
Yeah, we hired a lot of wrong people over the years.
We made a lot of mistakes.
And then, by the way,
the best way to learn though. So what advice would you guys give somebody who's new and is kind of in that boat? Because I know a lot of people are also in a small business. We're afraid to trust somebody with our baby, right?
Yeah.
And we talked about the trust a little bit. So, but we have to. We have to.
If you want to grow.
Exactly.
If you want to grow.
We have to find a way to get the right people in the right positions and give them our absolute trust. Of course, unless like they do something wrong to lose their trust. But what advice would you guys give to our listeners in regards to that?
As far as building or starting like hiring type stuff and all that? Building your team. For me, the biggest thing is really building a process. I mean, like everything in business, it's always about systems, right? And we built a 9-step hiring process that was very thorough, that was meant to really vet people and to frustrate people. Because I didn't want just anyone to join my team. I only wanted really solid players to join my team. And that was the old way of doing it, is I would hire someone like after just like 20 minutes with them, like, they're cool. They seem fine. Let's bring them on board, And then I realized, okay, that's not working because too many of these people. And by the way, I always blame myself. When we hired wrong, in the old days, I would blame the employee. They're a bad employee. No. When it's my job to find the right person and put them in the right position and let them succeed. It's not their job. Yeah. And I think a lot of times when you're younger and you're just hiring, we like to blame the employee and go, they were lazy. They didn't care. They weren't motivated.
What's wrong with people these days? If I'm not there, it doesn't run right. Yeah. Well, that's
on you because you built the ship.
Exactly. And you have to have the right systems in place and train them, but then give them the freedom to run with it.
Yeah, and that's the big thing, is training them. Because a lot of people in the lash industry, I know, don't train their staff. They hire them and they hope a trainer trained them, but they themselves aren't going to take a lot of time to train them.
This was what I did at first. Like, I wanted somebody that was like a clone of me. So I didn't want to have to, I didn't
said that so much.
Right?
Yeah, we all dream of that.
I didn't want to have to tell them how to interact with people. I wanted them to have the personality to do it. And I got along with you. You're great. You're fantastic with people. Go and do it, because I've got my clients right here. Yeah. And what I didn't realize is that I wasn't hiring people so that they could just take over and do the services. I mean, those people still need training too. Mm-hmm. Because if I didn't pour into them, what do they have? Why did they have any interest in staying with me?
Exactly.
So it wasn't like I was building other people's business. They were building it within mine.
People don't care until they know how much you care, right? So if you don't care for them, they're not going to care back. They're not going to care about the business. They're just going to do their own thing and 1 or 2 years leave and go build their own business because you didn't invest in them. And that's really a key part of staff retention, is investing in your team and really training them. And I remember almost 100% of the people I interviewed, and I interviewed probably hundreds of people over a period of like 8 years. I think maybe one or two had got training from the previous employer. Almost every time I would sit down and go, so tell me about where you work. And they'd be like, I work here. Okay, so what kind of training do you get? And they'd be like, training? I never got trained. Or the only training they got was like, well, I got 2 days of training, like in the beginning, like when I first got there, I got 2 days of training and then they kind of left me on my own. So you had no ongoing training, no yearly training, no monthly training, nothing, no onboarding, like no getting them ramped up, like to understand how the company does business. And so
the company mindset, and what are our values?
And this is what we did. We didn't have that in the very beginning. And then we began to realize we developed a whole training program so that we would once a month train our staff and we would always shut down the business to really make sure engage and give them sales training.
For the salon.
Salon. Yeah. Okay. This would be, we give them sales training, product training, customer service training, team building type stuff.
Reviews. We were working on them, their personal goals. And what I didn't realize in the beginning is that care for the employees, for the staff, is a full-time job.
Yeah.
It really is.
So I was hoping that I was just going to hire people and they would take it off so that I could take care of my clients. But no. So what I didn't realize is that you have 2 full-time jobs. Your clients yourself, and then building the business. And then if you're a mother, that's another full-time job. Something's got to give.
Something gives,
Something's got to give. So I encourage new lash artists. Lots of times they think, oh, one day I'm going to have a storefront and one day I'm going to have all these employees. And that's great. You know, that's a great goal if you've got those skills and you know what it's going to take.
If it's right for you.
If it's right for you. But you might not have those skills. Yeah. So don't dream that doesn't have to be the end goal for you. You can have something else as your end goal.
I think most lash artists are not built to be salon owners. I think that they could be trainers. They could be
most. I want to say just most people. We can generalize it to not only for lashes or not even for beauty. I think most people are not meant, or they don't care to be entrepreneurs. Sometimes we kind of are promoted, or we
glamorize it, right?
Glamorize the dream of it. But sometimes, like even now that I have 2 little kids, sometimes I question it myself. I'm like, do I really want to be doing this? You know, because it does take so much, and it always takes it takes the right person. We talk about it's not for everybody. But and for some people too, when they do get what it is to be that business owner, that's when they realize, oh, this may not be right for me. You know, I'd much rather just rent my own little studio, do my own thing, make almost as much money.
I make more.
Probably
Actually, most owners I know, when they go from being a full-time owner or work solo to where they hire 3 or 4 staff, almost everyone I've asked said I made less money.
We made less.
I know we made less. We gave ourselves a huge pay raise when you basically closed the salon. So I mean, it's not unusual. To
the
see that.
grass is not greener. That's what I want to tell people.
And so, salon ownership is wonderful. I'm not going to say it's bad, but at the same time, there is a price and it is hard and it's not for everyone.
And you want to make sure you're prepared for it and you have the reality of it. And I would say you have the right tools and right people to coach you and help you through the process. So like you guys said, so you don't make the same mistakes. Like we don't have to recreate the wheel. We can learn from other people.
That's right.
And, but for me, because again, this podcast is a lot about personal and business development. So I do encourage people to become entrepreneurs, but do it the right way,
do it the right way.
And then see if a certain thing is not right for you, like owning the full salon and having all that pressure on your shoulders. Maybe you could be an entrepreneur just for yourself and have an assistant, for example, right?
Absolutely.
But with that said too, like I don't want to discourage people from it either. It's a lot of hard work, but if you feel like you might be the right person, definitely take business classes, try to find a coach.
That's the key.
Work on yourself.
A coach, find some people that have been there before you. For us, our business was hugely unprofitable until we finally brought in a coach company called Strategies.
So I'm going to cut you off really quick. So kind of take us on a quick timeline of your journey from lash artist, bringing him on.
Oh yeah, we didn't finish all that.
So the salon is now kind of there. You guys are losing money. It's difficult. Hiring new people. So
2011, I jump on and we quickly go. I mean, you were a little profitable before that, but we quickly go to being unprofitable. And part of that was I think it was 2012 was the year that Tussanee like, I don't want to be doing lashes all the time. I want to be helping work in my business, or on my business, not just in my business. So we take her off the floor. we're like, okay, Tussanee is going to work 2 days a week or something like that. Because, of course, we don't understand numbers at this point. We don't realize so much of her salary and so much of what she's making is paying for the bills of the business, because we're paying 50-60% commission rates, which are unsustainable in any industry, but in our business for sure.
There's so much more costs that people don't see. You know, they're like, oh, you're charging the clients this much, so
I get half. You're walking away with half of that.
Yes, but they don't realize the advertising cost, the other like employee costs, like
the overhead,
the taxes, you know, all the things. So any of that said, we quickly, when we took off the floor, we quickly went to negative, and what's going on? And we didn't understand that, you know, this whole concept of hours. Like, you only have so many hours you can sell in your business every month. So we had at that time 5 staff plus us. We had like 6 people working 40 hours a week. So 6 times 40 is 240 hours a week we could sell. And then we had another 2 for over 4 weeks. So that's a little less than 1,000 hours. Now, we didn't understand that concept. Like, okay, you can plan a budget off that. Once you know how many hours you averagely sell every month, then you know how much revenue you're going to bring in, and then you can budget accordingly. But we didn't know any of that. Yeah. So we didn't understand. We just took our hours off. So it's like we went from 1,000 hours down to 800 hours, let's say. And then we wonder why, our bills were set though for 900 hours. So we were short 100 hours of income. Yeah. So we were all
where the coaching or the business side
training
comes handy.
So we did. We went and we got in the red, and then we got into actually some trouble financially with the IRS because we stopped.
So this is something that I want your listeners to benefit from. So
this is a huge mistake
that we did was we had a front desk, and
this is 2013 now, I think it was.
And so we were realizing that it's a hard time paying the bills, but we didn't want to let her go. We liked her. She was an important part.
Yeah.
We felt like she was family. So we kept her on. And do you want to share what
basically we kept her on. We decided not to pay for just like one payment. We thought we're going to hold on to our payroll taxes and we'll catch up next month.
We'll pay double the next month.
We'll just pay double next month because we just need to get things back in order, catch up. We're really behind. And
honestly, any new business goes through those things. Right. So it's normal. A lot of people don't talk about it, or they don't stick through it to kind of like readjust and figure it out. They just be like, okay, I'm closing shop.
Well, this was one of the biggest mistakes of our entire lives.
Okay. And it haunted us. So basically, payroll taxes, people don't realize, you collect, if you're an employer, you collect taxes on the behalf of the government. And you usually, when you have a payroll service, they'll just deduct it automatically out of your bank account and pay the IRS and the state that you're in. Because we had more power over ours, because with our payroll service, I could actually just delay and say, I'm not going to pay this. I'm going to hold on to that money and keep it. And it was like, $8,000, let's just say. I don't remember how much it was.
Yeah, it's at least like 7 point something
percent. 7.5%.
Right? And when you think about it like that, it's so painful.
It's very painful.
Why.
But so I kept that money, the $8,000.
But $8,000 now may not seem a lot, but when you're starting out, you're negative, you're really like hustling, trying to work. That's a lot of money for some people, So.
And so instead, and now the thing was, if we had let go and we had 2 front desks initially, we were paying them about $10,000. If we just let go our front desk, we would have not run short. We would have been fine. I would have worked front desk, but I felt like my job I was weird. I didn't understand yet.
We didn't understand.
The big
I didn't look at my budget, didn't understand P&Ls, didn't understand cash flow plans or any of this stuff.
It's balance so funny. Sheets. I'm sure a lot of our listeners listening to this are like, wait, all this goes into a salon.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we also felt in some ways it would be losing face. We didn't want to have him, lose the front desk, and you're going to have to go back
and be front desk.
We didn't understand.
So we kept them for a while, but we finally, I think, or maybe it was 2012. It was we let them go in 2013. You're right, beginning of 2013. So 2012 this is all going on, and finally we realized we can't afford this. We start paying our taxes again. We get our house in order, but we have to let go of the front desk. And so we let go of the front desk. But by the time we let go, we never caught up with the taxes. We owed, how much did we owe, Tuss?
Okay, wait a minute. So we ended up owing $70,000
to the IRS.
However,
in back taxes.
My goodness.
But this is the worst part.
Because it adds up quickly.
Oh, no.
It adds up quickly. And then the fees, we actually ended up paying $140,000
back
because we paid double in interest. So when I think about the original bill was only $8,000.
Yeah.
It took us 8 years to pay this.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the bottom line is never, 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 ever stop payment on your taxes because it will haunt you and you will never
And the
be
process
able to get
snowballed because we got so far behind, we realized we can't catch up. We tried to catch up, but we couldn't.
There is no relief of that. They will keep charging you.
And then,
charging you. And it is shackles. Literal shackles.
I mean, here's the thing. This is how dumb I am. When we first
were inexperienced.
When we negotiated our deal, and this is where I also could have negotiated. One of the things, by the way, IRS is willing to negotiate with you.
Yes,
you can do it yourself.
I was about to say it, so I have a little background in accounting.
I did not realize how helpful actually IRS can be. Everyone always paints this evil picture. IRS is evil. They want the money and they want you to succeed.
They will settle.
There's some jerks and there's some nice people, but most people I ever worked with the IRS have been actually very nice. But I ended up paying someone to help us negotiate our IRS deal.
You know, you hear these ads on the radio.
I think we paid $5,000 to this company to do what I could have just called and negotiated myself.
So if you're in a desperate situation, those ads that you hear on the radio are like, we can negotiate you down, pay pennies on the dollar.
Scam artists. They're scams.
It is not true.
Most of them. I mean, there are probably some legitimate ones.
The lesson learned is make sure you do your research on something before you jump, even when you feel desperate. I feel like that's honestly a lot of like the scammy businesses. They target people who are in desperate, like bad situations. And, it could be your credit, like money you owe, anything like that. When you feel like you have no other choice, they literally take advantage of you.
Oh yeah, they do. We ended up taking a loan from basically like a loan shark, and because we needed some money to get us between, and we took this money where they take money out of your. We were desperate. We actually did one of those deals where they take a loan and then they take a percentage of every charge you make. If you get $100, they take 10. Like of every $10. But we were so desperate to to be able to pay our bills. I mean, even with the IRS, when we got this deal worked out, they didn't know she had a deal where we were paying like $200 a month, or $400 a month. It was nothing. It was like $400 a month. They didn't tell me, by the way, that's not enough to cover the principal. So our interest was like $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month, and we were putting $400 a month. That's why we ended up paying $140 back, because for the first couple of years, we're just giving them $400 for nothing, just pissing it away. Meanwhile, our amount we owed IRS was going up crazy tripling. And no one explained that. None of these people.
I know.
Yeah, we were idiots. We were so bad.
Thank you so much for sharing that, honestly, because so many of our listeners can learn from these. It's so common. We're kind of laughing about it now.
It is funny now.
When you're in that situation,
a lot of crying.
You don't realize it. You don't even realize it, that it's a dumb mistake, because we don't know any better. And like especially in the beauty industry, a lot of people don't go into it with so much business background. And even in life, like people make these things happen to so many people, and I've known a lot of people, talk to a lot of people, so it's common. So to our listeners, make sure you're not making the same mistakes. And thank you guys for sharing, because it's huge.
Staying on top of your taxes is your number one duty, aside from keeping the lights on. Paying your staff is first, but really paying the IRS second. Paying yourself is last, by the way.
And so this is what happened. This is one of the reasons.
If there's money left over.
If there's money left over,
we were so busy, but we were barely making a profit, and we paid good salaries. We paid
anywhere from 60 to 100,000.
Full health benefits. We had
we paid half. Half the benefits.
We had vacation pay, but we took care of the staff, and we were making like McDonald's wages, and working so hard. And the hard
part... This is like 2014, 2015, when we changed over to the strategies. We hired them in 2013. They really gives a roadmap to success, which works. But it took a lot of adapting, a lot of growing, changing. We had a walkout basically when we first, because we weren't good leaders. And that's one of the big intangibles people don't understand about being a salon owner, is you really have to become a strong leader. And we weren't. We were weak leaders.
Any entrepreneur, you have have to be a good leader.
You got to be learning, what does it mean to have people follow you and how to inspire and how to lead and how to care and how to serve your team.
So they actually want to work for you and help you grow versus them being afraid of you. Like, that's the main difference I've learned a long time ago between a manager and a leader.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to be just a manager where you're telling people what to do and they just feel like they're forced to listen to you.
And be yelled at or something.
Yeah. So instead, you're becoming a leader where they're inspired and they want to follow you and help you and work with you. Right?
Yeah. And that's something we didn't know. So in 2014, 2013, 2014, when we switched over, we got the systems in place, but we sucked at leadership. And so our staff left. We literally had 2 people left after 3 or 4 people all left together to start their own businesses.
Good intentions, but not good execution.
Yeah, poor execution. So that's not a knock on strategies because I think their coaching program is perfect.
You guys have made it. So this shows a lot. So you're definitely resilient. You do have what it takes, right? So I think that this is a great thing for our listeners too, to know that, you know, suck it up and keep pushing. Even if you know nothing about what you're doing, if your heart is in it and you're going to work hard, you're going to keep trying like different things. Eventually you'll be in these seats. Right?
Yeah, no, it just,
When the stakes are so high, there was no way. There was no plan B for us. We had to make this work. Otherwise, we had no other way.
We had no plans of going back to work for other people. That was never going to happen.
We couldn't do that. And so we're like, there is no other way. So we ate the humble pie. We learned the systems. We chopped the wood. We carried the water every single day.
And I was front desk for 3.5 years, from 2013 all the way to about 2017. We didn't have front desk. I did it. 2016, about 3 years.
But you learned.
I learned.
And you forged those skills, which gives us a platform to do the podcast.
And I started,
share,
and I read books. I took classes. I also listened to tons of podcasts, which became a love to listen to podcasts all the time. So for us, it was like, okay, we're in school now. Like we're now, we thought when I joined in 2011, I thought we just run a business. Kind of like you were saying earlier, I'll just run itself. It'll be easy. I think back when I first came out, I worked 30 hours a week. I know. And I'd leave at 3 to 4 in the afternoon. I'd go home and play video games at night. And it was like totally casual. And then of course the company imploded because I wasn't engaged. I wasn't trying. I wasn't leading. I wasn't learning. And that's when I realized, no. My full-time job is to continue to learn, to grow my abilities, become a leader, and to care for my team.
I am, because honestly, that's when you became a man. A real, genuine man.
At 45.
Seriously.
I was a big child.
Better late than never.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Well,
it is true.
Like you carry us now, and you work so hard, and it's like you became worth following.
Yeah. I love that. I love that so much.
I appreciate you.
Big hugs.
I love love.
But I think, it is interesting that it's never too late to change. And we were stuck in kind of some bad patterns and bad things. And it's easy to want to feel like I failed, so I'm going to give up.
Yeah.
And we just adapted. It's like we failed many times. But by the time we got to 2016, 2017, we finally really began to hit our stride and the business was rolling really well.
You get some stamina, you get some armor, you develop some calluses.
We took a vacation.
I know.
We actually paid ourselves a little bit more than our employees, I think, the first time.
A little more than McDonald's.
Yeah.
A McDonald's manager.
Yeah. We were making like, I think $80,000 a year for the first few years when we were there. Like our employees were making $50,000 to $80,000, $100,000 even. And we were making combined hours like
sometimes
60s.
People don't realize how much it goes into.
They don't realize, and that's what burns me. It's like they're complaining, like, where does the money go? 50% should be. And I'm just like, girl, I work twice as hard as you. I have all the risks.
I make half of what you make.
I have all the shackles because, of course, they're my stupid decisions. But here you are complaining, where does the money go,
No, I know. We had staff say they would ask, or I remember once on the chalkboard or grease board, right? Where does all the money go? Someone wrote that, and I remember looking at it going, I can assure you, it's not my pockets. I mean,
that's a great question though, because again, for entrepreneurs or even like people in the industry listening to this, even some business owners sometimes don't know where the money goes.
No, they don't.
You like you said, like you guys didn't even know you were kind of in the reds. You're in like a risky zone until you were going kind of negative. You're like, oh, we took
what happened? I don't understand.
Yeah, because we didn't know about budgeting. We didn't understand cash flow.
But there's so much expense experience that comes with the business. And, you know, unless you are doing it right, you won't really know. But that's kind of the reason why, I guess it's, what I've learned is to communicate with my employees. I think it's still hard because no matter what, employees like always resent sometimes, owners or managers or like whoever's on
it's kind of a cultural thing. I think it's like bred, like you're supposed to be distrustful of your boss, your owner for some reason. Really,
it's kind of just the order. Like kids resent their parents for telling them what to do, make them clean their room, that kind of stuff, feeling depressed. It's kind of the same thing. Nobody wants to be told what to do. Nobody wants to be.
So that's why, right? We're going to focus on to be leaders instead of managers. Yeah. So that's always the goal. And that's something I'm always having to remind myself too. And I think it's worked for me pretty well. Overall, I've had a pretty good team. And I think most of the time, most people are pretty happy.
And
no, it's very hard. Like that part, I think people don't think about that relationship between like employee and manager or owner. Yeah. It's I think a lot harder on owners than it is on employees.
Yeah, I mean, I never liked using the word boss because I always felt like boss is such a it feels crass to me because it's like I'm doing bossy around. I always liked leader or I like the term servant leader too. Something I got from Dave Ramsey from Entre Leadership, where he says, you know, as a leader, you're only as good as good as you're serving your team. So when you serve your team, you're always thinking about what do they need? Like I realized as I got further into it, in the beginning, I just thought, I'll just manage the team, like you were saying. And then I realized as I got more into it, I was like, no. My job every day is how can I make my staff's life better? Like how can I provide value for them every day? Whether it's, hey, checking in with them, saying, how are you? Any problems, anything I can do to giving them a career path where they could grow and have success and both personally and professionally, not just caring about their business side, but caring about them personally. What dreams do you have? What do you want? Do you want to have a house? Do you want to have a family? Do you want to get married? Do you want to go back to school? Whatever it is they want, you got to be aware of that and be there to help make that a reality because my job is to serve my team. I didn't get that in the beginning. I totally was like, you're just here to serve me and make my dreams a reality. And then
so
it was
I can make a profit while I'm not there.
Yeah, so I can go on vacations all the time. And then that didn't work so well because no one wants to be like, and I see this is one of the things that scares me because I see people online on Instagram, some lash bosses will just say, and they're like traveling the world and they're doing all these things, speaking, and they're doing all this crazy stuff. And meanwhile, their staff's at home doing the work to keep the business going. Yeah. And I'm like, you better make sure you're really caring for your team and invest in your team because if they see that for long enough, they're just going to say goodbye.
Like, why am I holding down the fort? Like, what you're not investing in me. Why should I be building your business? That's what I think.
Yeah, why should I be building your business is something that got thrown in our face at times.
It needs to be give and take, and it needs to be beneficial in some way for everyone.
Yeah.
A lot of times, even just a pay isn't enough.
No, it's not. In fact, I would say the money is never enough. It's money rarely, in most studies I've seen, is the number one reason why an employee stays or doesn't stay. Usually, it's about culture. It's about being appreciation. It's about working for someone that you like. Like I really like my boss. I have one sadly in my years, maybe this is why I was a bad leader initially. I had mostly bad bosses most of my life, but one of my early bosses was amazing. Marty at Red Lobster. This guy, I would have slayed dragons for this guy. Oh, wow. I loved him and everyone in that place loved him. He was amazing.
What made Marty great?
What made him great is that he got in the trenches with us.
And things got busy.
He was not the GM type that just sat there and go, guys, make sure you do this. Make sure. He would jump in and he'd be like, Paul, what do you need right now? And I'm like, I have 3 tables. This table wants this.
Go get the coleslaw.
Yeah. Coleslaw. Big favorite at Red Lobster. And he would be, and dentures too. A lot of dentures at Red Lobster. But that said, because we served a very specific populace and we got a lot of these seniors. They love coming to Red Lobster and getting their coleslaw, and was it sole? The filet of sole. They love the filet of sole. I don't know what it was. It was the grossest thing that we served. But he would be there in the trenches, and I could tell he cared. And I rarely have had a boss in my life that would sit down with me and go, so tell me what's going on. How can how can I help you? I mean, it was just very unique. And most of my bosses were more like one of my worst bosses said, he said, tricks of the trade, Billy. No, that's an inside joke. Sorry.
This guy came and said, "How do I do this?" And the boss just folded his hands behind his head, leaned back, and said, "Tricks of the trade, Billy. I'm not going to tell you.
Not going to tell you. This is how much a guy. He says, my job, Paul, is to pay you just enough money so you don't quit. And your job is just work hard enough so you don't get fired.
What?
And I'm like,
I know.
what?
Isn't it the worst?
You're my boss. You have the most inspiring speech ever. Thank you for that. And, eventually he fired me because he was an alcoholic. He was. I got fired from 3 jobs. He was alcoholic.
Well, you confront him.
I confronted him.
You're not allowed to talk to people that way.
He had a meeting and he kicked all everyone's butts. And he said, these are my ass kicking boots or something like that. And I'm going to kick all you in the butt. And after the meeting, everyone left. And I said, just, everyone right now is discouraged and hates it being here. And the next day he came in and said, no, Paul, this is like literally the week before our wedding. He goes, Paul, I just think that you're just not a good fit and your numbers are down. They weren't. And because your numbers are down, we just have to let you go. So he fired me. And it was only because I stood up to him, which I learned quickly. You don't stand up to your boss unless you were ready to leave.
Well, that's the wrong boss.
Yeah, it is the wrong boss. You have the right boss. It should be a collaborative. Yes. And he was the wrong boss.
So I guess that's a lesson for our listeners.
Yeah.
Be a good boss.
Yeah, care about your people, invest in them. Don't see them as numbers.
At the end of the day, that's how you're going to be able to grow your business. If you care and then you get employees who care to mutually grow your business.
Exactly.
Right.
No, it's 100%. And I feel like, we hadn't hired people in a long time, but hiring people for LashCon, it was like that. I mean, I really tried to make sure I invested in them and cared about them, listened to them. It was a short run. It wasn't like months. It was like weeks of working together and really only about 4 or 5 days. But I think we did, a much better job engaging on right now. It looks like almost all of them are come back next year, which is actually really kind of cool.
So we should probably go back to the timeline.
Yes. Oh yeah, we're back to the timeline. So we're in about 2016, 2017. We got back into motion. I think the company was running well. We finally had figured out the systems, and then we made a real crazy error. We basically decided to let someone go that wasn't working out. And this is someone that loved her business like 3 months previous. She had written, I think, the nicest email I've ever gotten saying, this is the greatest place I've ever worked.
She just was able to buy a home and thank you because,
everything good she said in her life came from working with us. But something, and we still don't know this day, something went south after that. Somewhere, we kind of think.
I think we know
we gave her a review that wasn't.
We gave her a review and there was one area that she could have grown on. It wasn't just the skills of the lashing. It's like,
people
being
skills
warm with the team, being warm with the
which is great,
right? And so she was
very upset
by that.
That.
She's like, I'm the best one here. It should have been a glowing review, and was like, it is a good review, but these are things that you can work on.
You can still grow because we didn't just hire you to be a good lash artist. We want you to be a good person, and we want you to be a good teammate. And there's other areas that we judge or rate. We don't just rate how well you lash. We rate also how well you get along. How much do you contribute to the team? Do you help others? Are you correct? Do you take correction well? Well, none of that went over well. She didn't like that.
She didn't like that, and so it affected her performance after that. She just was calling in sick a lot. I think she was looking.
Well, she's setting up her business, and so when I realized she was setting up her own business, I kind of called it out, and then we finally had to let her go, and it went really south. And I didn't understand labor law very well. In fact, again, the new area.
Honestly, that's one advice I can give any business owner too. Probably the first person you want to hire is somebody who has experience in HR. So that's like one employee every business owner needs because there's a lot, especially
in California. Oh my gosh, it's the worst state when it comes to labor law. They're in New York. New York is right behind us. But I looked at labor laws like in states. In California, it's pages. You go to the other states, it's 1-page sheet. Like this is all you need to know to work in Kentucky. It's really simple.
So what got us in trouble was we paid vacation as it was accrued. But as a shortcut for the paycheck, he put it all on the paycheck all at once. So the law is if there's hours on the paycheck, then you are entitled. The employee is entitled to get that.
Yeah, if you're an employee, you'll look in your paycheck, and sometimes you'll see where I'll say vacation, pay time off, those type of things. And so
you guys learned a lot of hard lessons.
So we decided because it was a shortcut instead of accruing it where I have to add in the hours every month. Go, okay, you work this much. This is how much vacation pay you accrued.
So you were manually doing that.
Yeah, mostly. Or now there's ways to do it automatically. But back in where we were, there wasn't a way to do that yet. So I would have to manually do it.
Yeah. For our listeners, now there is companies like third-party companies like ADP's.
Or
like
Gusto is
Yeah.
huge. Gusto is a great app, great software. I highly recommend it. Love it. But yeah, ADP, a bunch of it. All these companies, they do it all for you. But we were very self-started, so we did everything in-house. It was cheaper.
Everybody does that in the beginning, like you have to try to save costs as much
anywhere you can. You're always trying to cut costs. So I did that. So I would just manually do it. But then I got kind of like, no, it's just easier. I'll just put I think she had 2 weeks of paid vacation. So I put 80 hours in there. Or maybe it was 40. It doesn't matter. I put it in there. So it said 40 hours and then you redeem it over the year. So you'll see some people say, oh, you used 8 hours out of 40 or I used 12 out of 40. And so she had used only about 20 some hours out of the 40.
Those according,
for sick pay days and all that, or for not sick days, but for vacation pay that she just redeemed. But I didn't think I owed her the rest because I was accruing in vacation, but I didn't because in the paycheck, it said she was owed 40. So when she got fired, she was still owed, I think 22 hours or something like that. And I was like, I didn't know. So she said, please pay me now the vacation. I said, I don't owe you. She got laid off in May. I paid you for like 18. That adds up. That's about the right amount. You should have been paid. So I don't owe you anything. Well, she thought differently. So she went to a lawyer and the lawyer said, oh yeah. Not only that, by the way, he says, not only you can sue for that, you can sue for a whole lot of other stuff. 83%. Back in 2018, when I studied this, or 2017, 83% of all California companies are out of compliance with labor law. 83%.
So the question is, did you ever receive a call from work at home?
Yeah.
Yes, you did. Were you ever reimbursed?
Compensate for that.
For your
because you can't call people at home.
For the hour that you answered the phone, were you paid for the phone?
So all the little nitty gritty.
If you don't get paid for that, then there's a penalty.
Did they have good records for lunch breaks? Nope, no good records for lunch breaks. Did they have good records for breaks? Nope, we didn't have good records. We didn't have that all in place. Like you need to actually have a way.
By the time that she'd left, we had.
We did.
However, so basically, this person got like 7 other people.
Another lesson for our listeners. Wow, this is great.
Paperwork. You want to track everything, especially in California. You track everyone's hours. You track everything has to be on paper and agreed to and schedules and all that.
Give our listeners Deputy. It's an app.
Yeah, Deputy's great.
And it's wonderful. It will actually track their breaks and they will confirm that they've taken it or they've declined it.
Yeah.
So if you have, and that's what we use. It's called Deputy.
Deputy. It's an app. It kind of almost goes hand in hand with Gusto. They're both apps.
It will help
and you can use it on your computer.
Yourself.
And Deputy just at the end of the shift will say, did you take your 2 breaks? If they say yes, then they do. If they say no, then as a manager, you'd come in and say, okay, I can't be getting no's anymore. I need you to take your breaks because you're required by law. I'm required by law to give them to you. And it's good for you, by the way, to take breaks every day.
So it's on the employer. Even if you put it in the schedule, but the employee doesn't go on break.
It's on the employer.
It's on the employer to say you need to leave
in California.
In California.
And also, yeah. So, and if you also don't give them a full 30-minute break, you get, it's an hour penalty. Anytime you miss something, it's an hour penalty. If they go over by, let's say, 5 hours without a lunch break, it's an hour penalty. So all of a sudden you add that up over 7 employees over 3 years. It's crazy. And if you don't have paperwork, now's our problem. We didn't have good paperwork. We probably, after looking back at it, we probably would, because we got sued and we could have gone back and fought it. But because we didn't have good paperwork, it was their word versus our word. And we were told the court will always side with the employee. If it's just he said, she said, they're going to go with the side that is more considered the lower position because they're the employee. And it's up to the employer to know all these things and take care of business and do things right. And it was our fault. Then they sued us for a lot.
This is another reason why running a business is not for everyone.
Yeah, no, it's not because you don't know.
And the part that was so painful for me, honestly, is like the things that we did. Like we did spa day. I hired.
It's not even that. It's just like it breaks your heart knowing that you put all your into them and then they're not grateful.
And then
they're mad.
And they're taking advantage of little things that we were not aware of and exploiting it against us because they had a lawyer that was like super aggressive and not a nice guy, which lawyers often aren't. You want that guy fighting for you, by the way, but our lawyer was actually super nice and didn't want to fight. And she later we found out was not a good lawyer. But another tip here. You got to pay top dollars for your lawyers. Don't pay.
Lawyers and accountants, you
Yes.
gotta pay top
Do
dollars.
not
Don't take the
go
discount
for
lawyer.
The discount lawyer because
No.
you will pay for it.
It
That's
was
another thing.
so costly. While she didn't cost as much for the fees, it cost us our salon. Because eventually what happened is...
You're supposed to be protected. You know, you have your private and for corporate, like the very basics.
The corporate shield is supposed to protect you privately.
She didn't remove me personally from the personally I was liable for this when it was supposed to be the business, which is basic 101 stuff. So make sure that you
So again, another amazing lesson. Everybody who wants to run a business, not only a salon, has better be taking notes on these. And honestly, like, we do learn this in business school, at least like you're aware. So when you do open your business, you kind of know what to look for, but a lot of people don't know. So please make sure you guys are taking notes and don't make the same mistakes.
Yeah, you got to be an S Corp or an LLC, one of those, because that protects you. S Corp, especially once you make over 100,000, you should be an S Corp.
And this is our, advice as from our experience.
Exactly.
It's
Talk to a CPA.
it's not legal advice.
Talk to CPA. And once you're ready to get a business going, go get the professionals, but pay good money for that.
Yes.
Don't find the cheapest guy on the block, because that's what we were doing. And like always, so many times it was because we went cheap on something. We tried to find the low cost solution, and that ended up being a high cost problem.
It wasn't worth it to pay less.
And then honestly, since we're all in kind of since we made it through all this craziness running our own businesses, we're both in kind of the coaching area. So I do want to give that so much credit. It helps so much to find people who are going to be there to kind of hold your hands through it, because you think it's going to cost you a lot to pay a coach or a company or lawyer, accountant, but in the long run, if you don't get that help, it does end up costing you so much more, if not even in money, in time, right? So
just like the 8,000, if we had just paid that 8,000, we could have saved 140,000.
And it's kind of like a theme of our life, isn't it? And we always like to pay more because we're so generous.
Your kids are going to be set for success. They know everything.
They're like, we're not going to do this.
None of them want to be entrepreneurs. I'll tell you that. They looked at us. Now, the funny thing is that, I will close the timeline here, is after that lawsuit, we got bad advice. We settled for an amount that was way more than we could afford, but we were told, don't worry, they'll work it out in the bankruptcy or whatever. Bankruptcy. But there was a court that actually helps you figure out, well, maybe the settlement's it was over 6 digits, and they say it's this much. Oh, you'll go to another court, and that court will negotiate a deal that makes more sense for you financially. That doesn't exist. There's no negotiating. Once you settle in court, that's what you owe. So we ended up closing our salon in 2019. We basically knew COVID was coming and said, "No, what? We don't want to go through COVID." No, that wasn't it. We just we basically thought, well, we could pay them the money, and we're still paying the IRS. We can pay them. We can't really do that both. We didn't have enough profit. We didn't have enough profit margins to warrant both, and also they didn't want to give us a payment plan. They were like, "We want all now."
Said, listen, we can pay you. It's going to be over the years.
It may take 5 years to pay you.
They're like,
no, we want all now.
We want all now. So we couldn't do it.
We couldn't do it. And we couldn't pay them all now.
Closed the salon.
So closed the salon.
And then we moved into the next chapter. So basically,
it was almost a blessing in disguise.
It was.
Oh,
no,
because
COVID.
Learning lessons and all of that.
We closed in May, and COVID hit in March the next year. So we're literally just 8-9 months away from COVID and shutting it all down and trying to run a salon, as you know, during COVID.
No, that's
not an easy thing.
Too.
Yeah.
And for me, again, it wasn't only COVID. I had one tiny baby and I was pregnant, and COVID on top of that, it was
so
just too much, because I also had the salon as a separate location. Then I had the warehouse and all the classes and all of that as a separate thing. It was just a lot.
Too much to carry.
Too much. So that's when, that's the hard lesson I learned too, that it's okay to kind of almost accept the pivot and close something down, or accept maybe a failure, however you want to put it.
I love that.
And then repivot, repivot whenever you're ready. And actually, literally a month and a half ago, I decided, maybe I'm ready now to get back into services. So we literally started doing services, and I just hired 3 lash techs, or it's flowing. So if you're in a place where you feel like this is just too much, it's really not worth your health. It's okay to take a break. That's the lesson I learned.
Yeah, I think for us, that was hard at first to think we're failing, right? And worst thing, we had announced LashCon, or had brought some speakers.
When did that
That was in 2018. We started talking about this idea of we need a business conference because every conference we'd been to was all about technique. And we're like, well, we know business is our biggest weakness. Tuss is an amazing artist, but we had messed up our business so many ways. We said we really became students of strategies. The strategies loved us. We were really good at executing what they said. And they offered me to come on and be a coach with them. And so we really, really loved their system. So we said, let's build a conference that's just for business that helps people with that. Now it's 2018 and we started talking to people in late 2018. And then we basically signed a deal for the hotel in January 2019, thinking we were going to work out this deal with this lawsuit. And by the time we got to April, we realized that wasn't going to happen. So here's the dilemma. We are closing our salon in May of 2019, and we launched LashCon public in June. And you want to talk about feeling like a poser and feeling like you don't belong and like I'm lying somehow?
And so many people feel that way,
like, how dare you start a business conference when you just closed your salon? How you failed. And that's so tough. I could relate in many situations. It felt horrible. It felt like I'm just a crappy person and I don't belong here and I shouldn't be doing this. But at that point, we're like, well, where else are we going to do it? Tuss went back doing services alone by herself, which by the way, nice pay raise. It was good. Yeah.
Honestly, lashing is really good money. But like I said, like you said too, if you're an entrepreneur, if that's really like kind of where you want to go, ultimately there's just so much you can do just as a lash artist.
You can. You can make, Tuss was bringing in $180,000, I think, just by herself. Now that wasn't profit. That was like her total stuff, but her bills were only like $20,000, $30,000. So solo artist, she's making about $150,000. I mean, that's exceptional good money for just working 40 hours a week and actually do no marketing.
Now, I don't want that to be a discouragement. If you're just starting out and you're thinking that's not what I'm making, that's okay. That's because I've been doing it for 17 years.
At that point, you had been doing it for 14, 15 years. Yeah,
it's easy now, but it wasn't always that way. You have to develop those skills. You have to develop that rapport, and it will come. So.
Yeah, and now she doesn't make as much now because she works less, and because we've been pivoting, right? We once we made that shift to LashCon, we actually had started LashCast's. Crazy enough, we started our podcast in 2017 is when we recorded our first episode, and it aired 2018 in January of 2018.
I love it. I love your story so much, even more than now.
So we knew we had this weird idea. I told Tuss probably in 2016, 2017. I'm like, we are going to be a media company. And so I'm sure she's like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
I do lashes. I make people feel beautiful.
Yes. No. We're going to become a media company because the truth is the future is all about social media and about media, like being content creators. Wow, it's not about services. The services are great. That's paying our bills now. But if we want to do really bigger, have more influence, have more impact, make more money, and really build something that I would like to be part of because I came from a media background, right?
That background. No,
I don't want to do lashes. No, we'll leave that to Beautylicious. They're the husband-wife team that do lashes. They're great. So I said we're going to be a media company, and I started looking at ideas, and we did some Snapchat stuff, videos. We were trying to create a channel, and then we really stumbled. And I said, no, we should do podcasts. I've been listening to podcasts for the last 5 years, learning about business. Why don't we do a podcast? And at that time, there had only been one gal. I forget her name, unfortunately.
Jade.
No, it wasn't Jade, but she had done a podcast for like 6 episodes. And then she disappeared. It was all on the internet too. It wasn't on an app. Okay. And so 2017, we recorded in October. Our editor won't give us a copy of the stupid thing for like 2 months. I can't get from him because he's incompetent. Finally, by January, we launch it and we post it. And then we start posting regularly, at least twice a month. That was it. 2 times a month is all we did because I knew we were on a salon. I can't be doing both.
I can totally relate.
So we're just 2 a month is more than enough. And we ended up hiring someone eventually help us edit it. But the idea was, let's just start doing content, start creating free content that helps people. Builds the name, builds the brand. We started speaking at trade shows and no conference would hire us. By the way, we wanted to speak at conferences, but no one wanted to speak at a conference.
It's hard. Initially, it's hard to get your foot in the door because if people don't know you,
they don't care. They're like, why should we speak? Who are you? I have a podcast. Now everyone cares. But back then, when we had a podcast, no one cared that we had a podcast. So we just let that kind of begin to grow in 2018 as a kind of a back burner project. Like, we'll just do this, start building the influence. I think in our first year, we only got 35,000 listens complete. Now we get 35,000 like in a week or two. Awesome. So it's like a big growth from our first time.
I
Yeah. You start slow. You always start slow. And it took years of us doing that.
Just like your skills as a lash artist. It takes time.
Yeah. So 2019 comes, the business closed, but we still have the podcast and we have LashCon. And we said, well, I think we're going to, and you're making her money working. So she worked that paid for everything because LashCast didn't pay for anything. And LashCon, the first 2 years, I got zero money out of LashCon. I literally worked for free for 2 years.
Not even a McDonald's salary.
No.
Not even a paperboy salary.
No, zero salary. Every dollar went into the con. And
I think some people who don't know business, they don't realize that a lot of times when you're starting a new business or where you're investing in a business, it's normal and it's okay to not be profitable for like up to 5 years, actually.
Yeah, up to 5 years is kind of the norm,
I know that people
expect to make money right away, but really, actually, maybe it's not 5 years. Don't quote me on it. Maybe it's a couple years, but...
It depends on your funding, right? It just depends on your money. Like if you have a long runway, like you got funded somehow, but the problem is if you get a big loan, that's like a big dead weight on you. You don't want to do that. You want to stay away from debt. But if you can scrape by a low budget, let's just say that. And that's what we did. We hustled because we realized, wait, you can make good money again. And we can keep our budget below that. And so we kept our budget below that. And we worked on this. And I was her personal assistant. So during the day, she would take her clients. As soon as they were done, I'd come out, check them out, rebook them. And then I'd go back to working on LashCon and trying to get ticket sales, trying to get sponsors and all that.
You have to do what it takes. And I think that's the main thing. Like, business owners need to take their pride out of it and be like, okay, this is where I'm at. Now I have to do what it takes. Yeah. And honestly, I totally relate. We just started back our salon. It took me like longer than I expected to find a good lash artist, but I was doing the lashes when like... It's been how many years that I kind of like stopped doing it myself, but I was like, okay, I'll do it. I'll even take clients for cheaper on sale. Let's start to build
just to build the name up. Yeah.
And that's why, like, I'm so exhausted today. But at the same time, I know I'm going to put in whatever it takes for the long run game. So then I can go back to working only once or twice a week or like a few hours a day and still like have things flowing, right?
Yeah. And that's where we are now. We're in the grind now. I mean, for us, we're almost at that cusp where I feel like I haven't had an assistant still. I mean, I've been doing this for 4.5 years now, and I had hired staff for the LashCon, but during the rest of the year, and people were always shocked. Like they email me, and I would respond back like, "What, Paul? Why are you responding? I thought you have a team." Like, I have zero team right now. All our money is gone into LashCon, like making the event insanely fun and insanely good, and that's why we got 1,000 people this year because we put so much into that. Yeah, we got so much into it.
I missed it.
Yeah, because most people don't do that. We go to conferences all the time. We love them. It's fun. But you can tell this is like, they'll just kind of do the bare minimum because most of them actually have other jobs. I'm lucky that Tuss worked. So my full-time job could be LashCon. And I was very blessed. So we could really make it.
Team.
Yeah, it is. We were a good team. So that's why in the last few years, we've just been focusing on LashCon, webinars, training. The last 2 years, Tussanee's been traveling, training, teaching her technique, lash retention. And so that's kind of the evolution. And now we're moving more into more media. We want to get more into YouTube and more. We do 2 podcasts a week now instead of 2 a month.
Wow.
So we're doing 8 a month.
That's awesome.
And then we're probably going to be looking at our new program to almost evolving our podcast into a coaching program where it's like, you can get some stuff publicly. And then we're going to have stuff behind a paid wall that you paid that will get content from that.
And we talked about it, like if you don't want to make the same mistakes, work with people who are going to hold your hand that they've truly been through it.
Yeah. And we've been through it all. And I feel like we've helped so many people. I mean, I have hundreds of emails and DMs and people who said, thank you for your podcast. It's changed my business. I'm now profitable. I've done this. I've done that. And I said, well, we should probably move into this next stage should be even doing more of that, giving back.
I love that.
And probably Tuss will eventually do less and less lashes. I mean, hopefully.
Are you still taking clients?
Yeah.
I love it.
I know. It's so therapeutic, right?
It's like, I've always done.
It's a good break.
Yeah. No, it's
she probably does 4 days a week. She's doing clients.
I love it.
And then the rest of the time we're podcast, like today, we're podcasting all day. We recorded before you, and then we're gonna go home and record more. And then next year we're adding more like YouTube and other elements to it. So, but it takes time. I have another saying: it always costs more, always takes longer.
And always costs more.
Always costs more. Always takes longer. Yes. So everyone has these plans like, in 3 months I will do it this. And
it's like houses and construction.
Yeah. No. My dad built 2 of his own homes. My dad was amazing. And those projects took doubled the time they took.
At least 30% more. I think that's kind of the number. Whatever they estimate, it's always 30% more.
It always had more time. So for us now, I mean, it took us, we didn't expect LashCon to take 3 years for me to get paid, but it did. But at the same time, we also...
But now you have it set up so you can keep bringing in revenue. You know?
And now this last year, I finally got paid what I think is a good salary. But it took me the first 3 years of sacrifice.
Breaking even and passing to the green and profits, that's a huge accomplishment. So you guys should really go on a vacation again.
Well, we are. We're going the good news is like this last year was our first year where I felt like we really kind of turned a corner. Like, okay, we figured some things out. We got some good systems in place for our business, and we did. We took more time off this year than we've ever taken. Easily. And there have been years where we went 3 years at one point without any vacation. Like we just worked all the time. Wow. So it's been a nice season of change. Work hard. Like the 2 months before LashCon, not one day off. I worked 7 days a week for like 60 days, where it was.
Isn't that crazy how people kind of don't see all of that behind the closed doors? They just see the success that comes in front of them.
And then this month, I think this month we'll be taking like 15, 20 days off. So, I mean, it's like, this is catch up time. Like, okay, I worked my ass off. Yes. Now that we're through that and we're still working on LashCon, but we're going to take a little time because otherwise it's not worth it.
And I think that's kind of what some people don't realize too, like as entrepreneurs, even though sometimes we seem like we're taking it super easy, the reality of it is we've worked so hard probably at some point where we need to take it easy.
Otherwise you die. And I think that's where there is guilt though. I will say there is guilt. Like we're going to go and take between Christmas and New Year's, we're taking like 10 days off. And I actually, I feel there's a little bit like, do I deserve that? Is that right for me? And then I go, no, Paul, you worked 60 straight days for crying out loud. You didn't take any time off. I'm like, I know, but man, it's a lot of time. So we're actually really careful about how we post ourselves online. We don't like to lord any success that we have because I feel like it's discouraging. Now, I know some people think it's aspirational, and I think, yes, it is in some ways.
Such a fine line.
But it's a fine line because if you too much, it's like, hey guys, we're going on trips to here. We're going there. Look at our nice dinners. Look at our nice cars or what. We don't have a nice car. But that's it. It's a nice car, but it's a very old nice car. But that said, I think there's a lot.
I love you guys so much. So genuine. Like, I can already feel, like, how real you guys are, honestly. And I do want to point that out. A lot of people online, I know personally a lot of people that online, they seem like they're millionaires and they're doing so great. But then you really know them and you're like, why is this all a show? So,
seriously.
We just did a podcast, which we can because I think we went too far. But we basically said, I don't believe, there's this idea in our industry, and I don't want to be discouraging, but this is the reality. Doing lashes as a solo artist, you're not going to become a millionaire in a year or two. It's going to take you 20, 30 years of saving and investing and planning, which is, by the way, most millionaires.
20, 30 years, maybe not that long.
But most millionaires, the average millionaire, it takes about 30 years to become a millionaire. Because if you make $60,000 a year, which is kind of 40 to like 80,000 is the average range of what most lash artists make, is mathematically impossible to take 60,000, and put half of that, 40,000 in the bank every year. They're not going to do that. No one that lives on $20,000, $30,000 a year unless they live with their mom or dad.
Not here,
especially LA. So if you're putting $5,000, $10,000 a year, if you sit down and you start getting your returns, like 10% returns,
$500 a month into savings over 20
to 30 years,
decades.
You will then look at your bank account. If you're investing it too, it can't be just savings. It has to be investing. You'll look at your bank account and you'll have $1.2 million in your bank account because you were diligent. And as you get older too and you make more money, you can put bigger lump sums in. Yeah. But that's the true millionaire.
The allure is that, you look on Instagram and these people have become millionaires in a year, 2 years. That's what they'd like you to think.
I can count. I almost think in our lash industry, this is something, I believe there's less than a handful of millionaires in the lash industry.
Just because your business makes $1 million
doesn't make you a millionaire. And that's the thing. You see these people go, I made 7. No, if this year our business combined will make we'll be over $1 million.
However,
but we're not millionaires.
The bills, LashCon alone is
was like 700,000.
It's like, so you bring in that much, but what are your expenses?
Yeah. So honestly, that's all, like, that's what all the business side goes into it. So a lot of people do that. So again, well, my advice to that is like, since we're talking about social media, take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. Use it as a social platform, but don't use it as your basis to really like
measure yourself.
Don't compare yourself. Don't. I would say don't even trust it fully. You know,
completely. Bravo.
With a grain of salt, but really like get to know the people you're gonna trust, especially people that are gonna coach you. I can't say that enough. Make sure they're not just talking because they might have listened to a podcast or read one book.
Yeah.
Make sure they've been through it.
Yeah.
Like that's my best advice when you're picking a coach to help you. Because again, I know a lot of people on media, it seems like they might be a great person to look up to, but they're really not. So
yeah.
Your research, make sure you do your research, make sure you know who you're working with, ask for, this is one thing like somebody told me a long time ago when I was looking for a financial advisor, and they said, well, ask your financial advisor for their books. Like, how are they doing personally?
Yeah.
If they're not doing so great, what gives them the right to advise?
Advise you.
Answers, right? So it's kind of like the same thing. And if anybody's that's truly like has made like is successful and stuff, you should really ask for proof if you feel like you might not trust them.
Yeah, no, I think so.
Any coach is the same way. If you hire a business coach and they've never like hired,
yeah, that's the thing. I see a lot of coaching going on in our business, and they're like single practitioners teaching people how to build salons. I'm like, you never built a salon. Yeah. No offense. You might be a wonderful sweetheart who loves people and wants to give the best, but you've never hired anyone yourself.
It's kind of like teaching people to swim from the book. I mean, if you don't know how to swim in the actual water, you can tell them all about the book, but it's different when you actually get in the water.
And you don't necessarily have to be the best business owner to teach, though. I will say that, because I know like in sports, often the best coaches aren't the best players. In fact, a lot of times the best players are just very average coaches or bad coaches.
It's a different
skill to be able to teach. So you can be like, well, business wasn't so good, but I can teach business because I studied it, I learned it. I can, and I've seen results from my students and all that. So I can see that there is.
Yes, I totally agree, honestly. And again, teaching and having the art of something, I totally think it's two separate things.
Yeah.
Sometimes even just a lash artist, you can be an amazing lash artist, but doesn't mean you're going to be an amazing teacher.
You can be an average lash artist and be an amazing teacher, right? Yes. I think that's possible. I don't think you have to be the best lash artist on the planet to be a teacher. No, I think it's as long as you know how to communicate and you're teaching principles that are patience, right and all that.
You have patience. You know what you're looking for. Honestly, I've had some good educators actually that they've been able to be good educators, but they might not be as perfect as service providers themselves, but they know exactly what they're looking for, although they can't do it, but they know when to recognize it if somebody else is doing it too.
Exactly.
So I think that's the comparison to like the sports coach you guys were talking about as well. So I definitely agree on that.
Yeah, hopefully that's encouraging some people right now who may be like, oh, I can't be a trainer because, well, I'm not the best. That's okay. That's okay. It's a different skill set. You might be a natural teacher. And that's a skill. Or more likely, you're going to have to learn how to teach. Because just like you're going to learn how to be a salon owner, learn how to be a lash artist, you're now also going to have to learn how to teach. Because that's not an innate skill. You might have natural abilities, but I would encourage you, if you want to be a teacher, to start studying about teaching.
Yes, it's different.
Yeah, they're all different.
Everything is a skill. And I personally believe like everybody can be whatever they want to be. So but you just have to work on it. Nothing comes naturally. Some people think being an entrepreneur, being a leader, or being whatever, it just comes naturally.
No such thing.
No such thing. Some people it'll may be easier for them. They might have been through whatever throughout their life that seems like it's more natural to them, but it's because what their life has shaped them to be that thing or that person. So if people are listening and they do want it, don't feel discouraged. Just know that you're going to need to put in the work to become that thing that you really want.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, like I love Alona came on from Revelation came onto our podcast, and I don't think people realize how much sacrifice she did to get where she was. Everyone just sees now and go, "Oh, look at her! She's got this beautiful lifestyle,
got the designer shoes,
got the nice clothes, has this beautiful brand, and lives in a beautiful part of Laguna Beach area." And you go, "Wow, she just was given to her." Like, no, she came on our podcast and shared like. I lived in a studio apartment with her boyfriend, and she made him walk dogs to make extra money. And I think they got rid of their cars. They literally ate ramen for like a year, and they saved every dime they had. Like they saved like $90,000, I think, or something like that. And then they took that money and invested into their brand. They paid a company to create the brand, to create the images, to do everything. and then they launched their company. And it's because they sacrificed so much. So it's really easy sometimes to look at someone and go, oh, that was easy for you.
Silver spoon.
Yeah. Silver spoon. And maybe there are some like that, but most of us, we just gotta hustle and adapt and pivot.
Yeah, I think there is a statistic. Most made like millionaires or billionaires are self-made.
Absolutely,
so,
yeah. They're not. They don't inherit it. Yeah,
person. Yeah.
Which is why I think most lash artists, while I hope most of them can have wonderful, successful, wonderful careers, aren't going to become that millionaire in 5 years. Which I sometimes see our industry pushing, like take my training and you'll be a millionaire, or take my millionaire mindset. And I'm like,
yeah, let's be realistic.
Come on, you can become a millionaire, but realize it's going to take time and energy, or you're going to have to completely change your game and bring more revenue. So doing lashes and just working like you, let's just make $150,000 your salary. That's going to take a while to become a millionaire, because the $150,000,
because you have expenses,
bills and all that. Yeah, you're not going to put all that in the bank.
Or just like becoming a master at something. It takes a minimum of 10,000 hours.
Yeah, 10,000 hours to become great at something.
So after 2 years, I mean, if you're not working full time, it's still going to take a while.
Yeah, especially working part time. So everything and I think we have this instant gratification world, and I think everything just slow down, guys. So many of our listeners are 20, 30 something. Yeah. Guys, you got 30, 40 years of life, career to work. Hopefully you can build it and
balance it with your personal life.
Yeah, so you can be with your kids, so you can go out on weekends.
Children, they're only little once.
Yeah.
You have the rest of your life to conquer the world. I mean, you got a 10-month-old.
I do. And I have to remind that myself too. Actually, building the salon back up too, I look at that as a separate business, honestly, because I'm fully like rebuilding it, and I don't want to be like personally managing or doing the things. But in the meantime, temporary, in our last team meeting, I was like, okay, well, you know what? Like, again, to save money, because it's a brand new thing I'm launching now again, I'm going to do like X amount of hours to be like the salon manager. And then as I was driving home, that day I got off, I think 5 p.m. My son, the latest we can pick him up from his daycare is 6 p.m. And I was going to pick him up that day. As I was driving, I started feeling like antsy, and like I couldn't wait. And I just potty trained him, so I couldn't wait to go see the first day. Like, how did he do in school? And then it hit me. I was like, you know what? This is not worth it. Like, and I had already committed to staying in for the lash hours, some days until 8 p.m. and some days until 6 p.m. and Saturdays here too. And I'm okay. Like, I don't mind working. I love what I do. Like, I don't mind putting the work. But when it came to sacrificing my personal time with the kids or family, and it hit me, I was like, no. This is not worth it right now. Maybe down the line when they're older and they're not going to want to spend as much time with me, I'll do that then. But it's okay for now for me to find a different way. And I was like, okay, what are my two options? Okay, don't start the salon back up now. I kind of don't want to do that, because I just hired the girls. And what was my other option? Well, suck it up with financially and hire a lash manager like early on. Don't wait. Like it'll cost me out of pocket with money, maybe a little bit more, but at least in a little bit long run, I'm not sacrificing my time for my kids. And that was more important to me. So that was my plan, if that helps anybody.
Well, no, it's a great idea.
I really want to validate what you said as a mom, because I know a lot of us, and this is kind of a mantra that I like to say.
And it's hard, right?
We feel pulled. You have a lot of ambition. You have a lot of ability. You're competent in what you do, and you know that if you put your mind to it, you can do it. However, I just want to remind people that there are seasons. And this is me, being older, several steps down the road. My kids are older.
Wiser.
Yeah.
I just want to say that you're still going to feel young when your kids are grown, right? But
I hope so.
Yeah, you will.
I promise you can't imagine it now, but you're going to feel exactly the same way when you're my age. And the investment of your children is never wasted, because they're the only ones that call you mama.
No, babies.
And it's worth it.
Okay, guys, let's go.
I know. If you think about at the end of your life what you want it to be like, you are not going to be, I wish I'd spent more time in my lash salon. It's not going to matter. You're going to say, I want my children around me. You're not going to be like, please bring me my Louis Vuitton purse and put it around me as I die. No, it's like,
I love that. Honestly, like I said, I genuinely love you guys for being so real and so honest with the reality of things and what really is important, like value-wise in life, not only in just materialistic and success, like money-wise, I guess.
You invest in your family, and if you're feeling like that conviction, you need to be there when they're little, because what you're doing now by opening these files in their brains every single day, you're the only one that has that special influence. So put the other stuff off. It's going to be there.
Yes.
It's going to be there when you come back.
Yes, you're right. And honestly, I was scared of that initially when I decided to close the salon because, again, COVID, pregnant, and a tiny baby.
Yeah, so much.
Look, now I want to get back into it. It's here. It's available. It's fine. Working.
It's not like you lost any steam.
Yes. So thank you for that.
And you're wiser for it too now, too, right? Because, you've done it once. You know you can do it again.
Yes.
So I think it's...
And do it better.
And do it better. You're much smarter about it. Yeah. We decided we're not to. We keep thinking, should we do it again? Should we do it again? Because I know we would do it so differently. But
I know. That was my dilemma too. But I decided I am. Yeah. This was from a long time ago. I've been wanting to do it and then franchise it, actually.
Oh, there you go. See, because you have a game plan. And that's the same with us. We went and looked at our longer plans and went, I don't want to be. We don't want to be tied down to a location. We actually joked. We were meeting with our financial planner and like, so what do you guys want to be? I'm like, we want to be nomads.
Yeah,
that's so funny. Yeah. I have a website that I purchased. I'll sell it to you guys.
Yeah. That's great.
It was called Nomading Life. At one point, I
really.
So I still have it. NomadingLife.com.
Yeah.
So
no, we were like because we know our kids are getting older now. They're gonna move probably to parts of the country. We're like, we want to be able to go where they are, but not live there. Yeah. So like if
have the flexibility.
Yeah. And that's why we pivoted. And we knew this even 5 years ago. I want be a media company. I want it all online because I want to be able to make money through media means online as well as the event. And the event, by the way, I can be anywhere in the country and produce the event. I don't.
And then you just have to be there only those days.
Yeah. The only thing that we need to do is her lash business. That's the only thing that was holding us back to fund it. Or we used it to fund it. But at one point we realized that chapter will probably close.
Yeah, and it's probably temporary, Yeah. That's why I think it's so important for, like you guys said, people to look at the long game.
You have to. Yeah. Because if you're always thinking about next year, then you're not going to make smart decisions that are going to help you get where you want to be in 5 years.
Like
now,
for your family.
You'll pivot. Like we did not plan to close our salon, but we did have plans to do something after the salon already. We already had started the podcast, had already got LashCon in mind. Or we were thinking we need to start doing more media and stuff like that. So that was just beginning to grow. And then when we closed the salon, that just kind of really pushed harder and made it grow faster. So, and that's because we had a longer term idea of what we wanted to do. It wasn't set.
I love that.
But we knew that was what we wanted. And even more now, we're like, okay, we're 100%. Yeah. Our idea is like, we want to live in Hawaii for a few months. And then we want to be with one child and their grandchildren. And then live with near our other child. Yeah. Where we'll just be nomads. We'll just be bouncing around where our children live. And that's that for us, that's the kind of business we have to build. So you can't build a brick and mortar, which is why we decided now we're not going to go with a salon.
That makes sense. I love that. And I think the lesson from this too is it's okay, like we said, to pivot.
Yep.
And it's okay to say goodbye to certain things and move on. and everything happens for a reason. See, maybe that's the push you guys needed to be like, okay, salon's not our thing. We have something better. Or
it was a silver lining. There's always a silver lining in any tragedy or disappointment.
And you think it's the worst thing that happened for us when we closed the salon. Literally, I thought this is the worst day of my life.
The ugliest crying that we've ever had.
But the weirdest thing, the day after, we did some clients, and I was like selling stuff, closing things, helping our staff to transition to be their own employers because they are their own staff. Because we said, you guys all the clients, and you can start your own business. So I was helping like 12 people start their own businesses. Wow. And so I was really working hard on. But that said, I remember driving home the next day, and we smiled. We were
like a lot of pressure.
All that pressure was gone. Now we had to do other new pressures building because we had to like find a way to pay bills and do stuff. But the weight of the salon was off our back.
It's like being a compressed sponge and then all of a sudden not having that weight on you.
Yeah, so you knew it was the right thing.
We said, this doesn't feel bad. I mean, well, it's, there's a sense of failure and a sense of feeling bad about it. But at the same time, I was like, wow, we don't have to, all that weight, all that pressure is gone. It was actually the weirdest surprise to close the chapter in our life, really a failure, and then to feel peace.
Yeah, no, that was the best thing for me personally, because I recognized that my worth didn't lie in the success of the business. It was who I am with my family and with my God.
I love that.
That was
our faith. Our faith has really kept us going.
Yeah. So to me, it was like an extra boost that the world can fall around apart me, but it is still well with my soul.
I love that. I love that you found yourself and your peace, no matter what's going on in the external.
Yeah, and we were ready. I thought, these next months are going to be the worst days of our life. I'm going to cry every day, and After that initial cry, that first loss, we didn't cry after that. It was more like, okay, this is peace. Okay, good. We can get out of this. We can get out of that. We can fix this. We can start dreaming about other stuff. And the podcast really began to take off for us because at that point, that became our thing. Like we can really grow our influence and became fun. And so we haven't looked back. I mean, it's been a shock.
Congratulations for being on such an exciting path.
Yeah.
But I think we're good on time. I love the whole full circle. I can't wait to see what else you guys do and what you accomplish.
Thank you.
Hopefully, in like a couple of years, I can see you guys in different places. I'm like, can I come?
I so appreciate the invitation to share our story, and I hope that it has been helpful for your listeners.
So helpful, so inspiring, so real. Honestly, one of the best guests I've had for this podcast to share so many lessons in business that people sometimes don't talk about or rarely talk about. And truly like getting into it with zero experience and fully learning everything in full circle now, like coaching and helping other people with your programs and your things. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. But last word, a piece of advice that you guys can give our words of encouragement you guys can give our listeners, and we'll close with that.
Words of encouragement. Gosh, there's a billion different things.
First thing that comes to your mind.
I would say focus on your family. Don't sacrifice their needs for maybe what would be a short-term gain.
Wow.
Look at long-term.
I love it. I love it.
Okay. And I really think patience, two things. I'm going to give two because they both kind of couple each other really well.
You can say two.
Yeah. Patience is your best friend because if you realize that everything's going to take time, then you're not going to panic. You're not going to, if things don't work out, you're like, that's okay. I knew everything wasn't going to work out. I have patience. I can work through this. I can withstand the test. I'm strong. I know that things take longer than they usually plan, and I'm okay. As long as every day you're making that step forward, you're moving towards your goal, right?
Code for that, honestly. It's like, be happy with where you are, enjoy the process, and work on getting more or progressing, but just enjoy the process. Literally one day and step at a time.
And so that patience is so important because if you don't have patience, then you're going to be hard on yourself. You're going to get disappointed. You're going to be depressed. You're going to beat yourself up. Oh, that didn't happen when I wanted, or that didn't do this or that. And you're just your worst enemy. You become your own critic. So learning to have that patience is really important. Then the second one is like the counterpart. Act fast. Like, man, when you have an idea and you have a chance to try something, test it. Don't plan forever.
Perfect. You don't have to wait until it's perfect.
No,
don't do it.
Man, we've so often in our life when we've made big moves, it's not because we planned for 10 years to make that move. When we said the podcast, we're like, let's do the podcast. All right, next month we record it. Like, it wasn't like,
it's not perfect.
We got to get ready.
There's lots of and we look back and it's so embarrassing. But you just do it.
You just do it. LashCon, same thing. We were like, you know what? We should do a conference. So what did I do? I right away called a hotel and booked it. And I didn't have anything in place. I had no speakers. I had no money. I had nothing. I just signed a contract and that's right. I borrowed money from our kids because at that point, because our salon had collapsed. We were in the middle of all this salon craziness, so we didn't have any extra money from the salon. I was paying the lawyers. I was paying all this stuff. So I literally went to our two kids. I said, "Look, this is embarrassing."
I gave you. I know.
Well, they were both working, so I just said, "Look, I'm going to give you an opportunity. I need money. You know, all our money is tied up in this lawsuit right now. So can I borrow money for a deposit for the hotel?" And they both said, and I said, "I will." Did I double it? I might have doubled it or gave them like 50%.
Wow, that's a good loan.
It was a good loan. It was good. It was a 1-year loan. It was like, I'll pay you as soon as LashCon happens. I'll pay you. It wasn't double. I think it was like a 30-40% interest rate, whatever it was. So, they gave me the money. I went to the hotel, paid the deposit.
Honestly, I admire that too because it takes a lot for a parent to even ask help from a child, or like just know that you believe in yourself enough, or you're like, okay, just.
There's no way that we can default on this. There's no way.
We can't default. No. So that's the thing. We acted. And you know what? You learn in the moment. Action brings clarity. So as you do things that are out of your comfort zone, you begin to find out, oh, that doesn't work. Oh, that does work. Oh, that did work. You learn. The problem with so many people, and I see this in our industry, in any business, people plan, and they never do anything. I talked to a coaching company recently and said, how many of your students succeed? Really enact and do what you said. 15%.
Yeah.
15%. The other 15% kind of dabble.
Colleges and universities, that's the graduation rate. You guys know that, right?
Yeah.
Oh my
so
goodness.
They're assessed
so
by
many
that.
people don't act. They just plan and
Okay,
hope and
this
dream.
is the hardest thing for me. I'm just going to say this. It's like I learned this from him.
Yeah.
He would say, okay, we're going to go paint the house now. You have 15 minutes to pick the paint. And I'd be like, what? Oh my
No,
gosh,
she wanted years to pick the
But
paint.
he's like, Tuss, if you don't like it, we can change it.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's great advice. And I did actually personally learn that lesson along the way of me wanting to become like a leader.
Yeah.
That was the thing is I think it's actually a practice. It's an exercise. It's
Yeah.
an exercise people can do is just force yourself to make decisions within 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if somebody tells you, okay, what do you want to eat? Make sure you just say quickly, like whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
Don't
Overthink it. And
Well,
I
that's
think
good, Yegi.
and that's an exercise that everybody can work on to become better decision makers. And I think that's a very huge skill for people who want to be leaders and entrepreneurs to master, because you are going to have many fires you need to fight. And if you can't make a split quick decision and just run with it and be okay
And go with
with
it. Yeah.
you're gonna
stagnate.
yourself.
You're not going to go anywhere. I mean, it happens all the time. I learned this basically working in film and making these little films I did, short films I made, is that you're hit up every second. Someone, what do you want to do with this? What color? What do you want with this? What with this? Every second, he's like, you can't not be like, I need 10 hours to think about that.
Yes.
You just got to do it. You just got to go black.
Yes.
No, take that hat off. Let's rewrite that script. That's page 1. Let's go back to the original. You just make a decision and you go with it.
It's an exercise.
It is.
Some people think, well, I'm not a good decision maker. I'm not this. But it really, everything is a habit. It's practice. It's just really building that skill. It's a skill to make fast decisions. So those of you that think, oh, I'm not a good decision maker, I may not be a good leader or this or that. False.
Yeah.
You can be. Just practice.
You can learn. It's like anything. You're going to learn to hire. You got to learn by practice. You want to learn how to run a business. You got to become a leader. All this stuff. Same thing here. If you want to learn to make decisions, you got to practice, right? You just got, and like I said, action brings clarity. As you make bad decisions, you'll realize, that wasn't the right one.
I'm not going to do that one again.
And I'm not going to hire that way again. I'm not going to run my business that way. We're not going to do this or that. So yeah, you learn through the action. And that's why patience is great, because it tells you on one side, it takes time, just work it, move forward, and then action.
And don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah, but action, just make sure though every day you're taking action and not delaying and planning for the rest of your life, because you'll never get anywhere.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, that's my
totally
2
agree.
bits. The 2 polar opposites there, but hopefully that
All right,
yeah.
I love it.
Okay,
Thanks.
I could talk to you guys forever, as we can see. I love like-minded, hardworking individuals. So again, thank you so much for your time, for coming out, for speaking, sharing your story. So much advice, so much knowledge. I don't think you guys even realize how much you contributed, even with all the little mistakes you guys overcame to our listeners. Because these are things now, it's like, oh, I know these because we've been through it. But a lot of people that haven't and are thinking about it, it's gold to them. So thank you so much for sharing all that and your time. And
thanks for inviting us to be here. It's so cool.
And I can't wait to connect again down the line.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys. Bye. Thank you for listening. Please rate and review this podcast. Follow and engage with us on social media under the Yegi Project. And if you're interested in being a guest, email info@theyegiproject.com. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes.